Okay, so I'm officially recording right now. We miss you, Kenzie! Hi, Kenzie! So, I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to open up these files in Blackboard, or I think I have them in Blackboard, right? Kenzie, you should know that anyway, but just in case. So now, okay, go ahead. Files. Oops.
I hope she didn't submit it thinking she had to turn it into.
No, I talked to her last week.
Okay.
Plus, I changed the due date on there too. Okay, I'm gonna turn this on, hopefully. So the one thing I thought would maybe be helpful is I'm just gonna, again, because I'm recording this for Kim's as well, but I know we talked through things with Jen as far as what should be on the name tags themselves. So I just want to make sure that you all have the same thing. They wanted the first name, last name, and she wants it first name, then last name. And then she wants the 2 different sessions on there. Personal branding. But also wants the name of the personality, whatever that was called. What was that called? Personality assessment.
So the whole name, like adventure, or
No.
just the last four?
Yeah, so just the ESFJ or something like that.
The 4-letter designation.
The 4-letter, yeah. And then she wants the speed networking, and she wants the career cluster name on there. Needs to be included. So from what I remember, so correct me if I'm wrong, and I believe Jen said she was going to be coming, but she wanted their first name, last name, the personal brand is what they're going to go to first. Doesn't matter, we need to put times or anything on there because they're just going to tell them when to move. But she wanted the words personal branding and then the ESFJ or whatever. So obviously you wouldn't put name of personality assessment on there, just the 4-digit. And then the speed networking, again the name, and then the career cluster name, whatever that would be. And in case you all didn't, at some point we've talked about this a couple times, but since you weren't all required to be here, you do need to choose their cluster choice number 1. So they ask them for the second cluster choice just in case they need it for whatever reason, but there shouldn't be a need for it. So make sure you're basing it off of their cluster choice number 1.
Oh, I'm screwed.
Why? Did you include the 2 on there?
I just did 2.
You did 2 instead of 1?
Yeah, it's okay. It's easy to fix.
Okay. And then again, this obviously is on the name tag. And then they want the school name at the bottom. And again, it doesn't matter. You don't have to worry about color or anything like that because they'll separate that and copy them onto whatever colors they need. And she did give you the label number. Oops. The Avery 5164, right? 5164, did I write that down right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so that's everything that needs to be put on the name tag. But the other thing I just wanted to mention, she put, is it here on the clusters? Here it is. On the clusters sheet has, and obviously you all have gotten to this point already where you have like what day they're coming, whether it's on the 10th in the AM or the 11th on the AM, and or the 10th PM. So the schools are in there, they just haven't been divided, and it's sort of hidden. So if you didn't notice what day they're on, hopefully you noticed that by now. But that's where they are. How you do it from here is completely up to you. There's no right or wrong. But just a couple of things to note. This has the different clusters kind of already split. The personal branding, you can see how many are in there. The personal branding part is where you're using these rooms. You're using these rooms for the personal branding. You're not using it for the speed networking because you're splitting them up and putting them into the rooms. The goal, correct me if I'm wrong, Marissa, that Jen said last week was to keep them in their same rooms. So if they're in room 101 in the morning, they want them in room 101 in the afternoon, if possible.
She did not say that for that. She did say that for
The speed networking.
the personality assessment.
That's
Okay,
it.
no.
For the speed network. The career cluster, where you're putting them into separate tables.
The only thing that she had said about that was like, if you had to split it into 2 rooms, make the 2 rooms next to each other.
Yeah, well, when she
Speed
was
networking. Yes, it's for the speed networking.
like
So
trying,
the table numbers are all
She
the
wants
yeah.
each group, AM, PM, and all of them to be in the same room.
Okay.
So you have to like pick a room that's going to fit all of them,
Okay.
regardless if it's going to
Which
fill
I guess would make sense because
Okay.
if you get those table numbers on every table, or you get enough tables in a room, they don't want to be moving tables.
Oh.
So that would make sense. Not necessary for this, but just from I don't know. Maybe they don't have for the personality one. Maybe they don't have specific presenters for each one. Typically, when you have presenters coming in, you try and keep them in the same rooms
Okay.
versus moving them around. If it's possible, you could try. But this one might not be as easy. But as Marissa just mentioned, this one important. And just a reminder again, for the table numbers, there cannot be a repeated table number. It has to be a number, let's say if we have 120 tables, it's numbers 1 through 120. There isn't a table number 1 for ag, food, and natural resources, and then table number 1 for agriculture and construction. It starts here and goes all the way through. See,
Do we have a list of how many tables can fit in each room so we can number accordingly?
nope. In fact, that was a question that was brought up last week, and Jen said, do not worry about that. You're looking at the capacity for those rooms. That's what you're looking at. So you do need to determine the number of tables. So, and I think we had said that it was a good assumption to make. The round tables will only be in Centennial Hall.
and
And
one other one.
round tables will only be in Centennial Hall and
The cafe.
The atrium.
Oh, the atrium.
the atrium. They could set up round tables in there because there are set tables in there anyway.
Oh, okay.
Um, And the round tables can fit up to 8. And again, that's all. She said, I mean, I guess, in my mind, I was probably trying to think of too many things, like how many people can really fit in that, at the tables in the room, with, all these things, and is there a presenter at the table? And she said that is not our concern. We've been asked to do this, and that's what we're doing. So if they get in a room and like 3 different presenters decide they're going to bring all their speed networking people together, they can do that, but that's not our concern. They're going to figure it out on the fly when they come. So we know that the round tables can fit 8. The rectangle tables will be like this. She said could fit 2. I would say maybe 4. Up to you.
Okay.
So
So
square tables, then you have to remember in the cafeteria, in the student lounge, those are square tables. You might want to go look, if you're not sure, go physically look at those in those rooms. But you can consider the round tables are only going to be in Centennial Hall and the atrium. And so we have square tables in the cafeteria, but again, thinking, okay, those square tables, you could put 2 together if needed, and now instead of just 4 at a table, you could fit 8 at the table, a bigger size if you want to
I
put.
did 4 of those tables together, so it's like 12.
I think she said at some point they don't want any more than 8 or 9 to a table, didn't she say that?
yeah.
She came over here and worked with me, and that's how.
So that was okay.
Yep.
Even so, it was more so it wasn't necessarily that's the capacity they want in the group. It was more so what would fit. Okay. All right.
Like,
That seems like a lot of kids at one table
did she just talk to us
on
Thursday?
Thursday. Well, that's when Marissa had her come over to her computer and double check it.
Okay.
Okay, so is there anything else that you can think of that we talked about last week for those that weren't here when we were discussing those things or things that came up? What are some things that you've had trouble with as you've gone along? Anything that you've tried to, from what I'm hearing, most people are kind of getting to the point where, okay, I have them in their speed networking groups, now I have to figure out this table thing.
Yeah.
I think that's the hardest thing because you just have to figure out again how many can fit in this room. And I believe Jen said on Thursday that you could easily put three full clusters in Centennial Hall. So clearly they're not using Centennial Hall as a large gathering place because if we can put tables in there,
Yeah,
they're
see-
not having them start in there, bless you.
And when I went in through and did it, I ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groups in Centennial Hall.
6 clusters, like career clusters.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, if they're small enough, you'll be able to fit them in there. Because you can fit 500 some people in there.
Yeah, and it ended up only being like 300 and some.
Yeah, that's fine. See, as Michelle and I were talking about it last week in my head, I was like, okay, well, that many people can fit in there, but what about the tables with those people? And when we were questioning that, she's like, it'll fit based on the number of people that can fit in there, not the number of tables. So I guess don't worry about the tables. It's not our concern.
No.
Anybody have any questions that you can think of, or anything that you did that really seemed to work for you? If you want to give advice to others.
So, all the other tables are like those except for the cafe.
Yeah, and all of the, so that was the other thing I was going to mention. Jen did say that they want, you're not using, you're only using, and that's why when you see that on the tab, clusters, speed networking tab, you're only seeing the conference rooms as an option. Because we don't want them in the other rooms. They're only to be in the conference rooms for the speed networking part. And that's why they're listed here. Cafe 1, 2, 3, it varies. That's kind of hard to not know how many are in there. But did anybody go up there and count the tables that seem to be available? Cafe 1, 2, 3, I wonder what that means.
I think they broke it up into areas. Cafe area 1, cafe area 2.
Oh, there, cafe total, 290. So duh, that's right there. Yeah, so just to mention that, and sorry Stephanie, did that answer your question, or you just sometimes and made me think of the conference rooms? Oh, the tables, yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
So
Yes.
all basically, and the cafe is going to be 8 with 2 tables together. Is that what we're?
If you put 2 tables together, I think you could put 8 at a table.
Okay.
I don't know, did anybody go up there and look at them? If you had one of those square tables, it comfortably fits 4 people.
Yeah, and you figure you put 2
and if
together,
you-
then you can put 3
Yeah.
on each side and 1 on each end.
Yeah. I would say that if you put 2 together. Yeah, and then all the conference rooms are going to have more of the rectangular tables that I don't think I would put more than probably 4.
Oh.
Because it's going to be like this. It's going to be like this table right here at the front of the room. And if you think of these 2 chairs and those 2 chairs, I mean, you could push it by putting 6 there, but that's going to be a crowded 6 with no presenter. There. And those tables in those conference rooms might be a tad bigger, but I don't think, some of them are not.
Okay. So
So I think 4 to 6 of each of those tables would be at most. Any other questions? I can't even remember. Jen was here. I think she said she was going to come down around 1:30 in case anybody had any questions. Okay. You might have more questions as you start thinking. Are working.
I was like, oh crap.
Yeah, so I know this was something here that Jen wrote on the board, so I wanted to make sure everybody had that. And of course, it probably would make more sense to make the first name and last name a little bigger so it's easier for people to see that, and probably the school name as well. So if they need to know what school they're from, they can do that. They can see it. All right, any other questions right now? Not yet. All right. Well, and that's part of it. I mean, that's the advantage to kind of being here and working as you come up with problems. We can maybe help each other answer them. Or Jen is readily available. Or you could walk to an area and see if that would seem to work, what you're thinking. So I don't know that I made that totally clear last week. I think I said it in my email, but it's been a while since I sent that email. But the due date for this now is Thursday at the end of the day. Actually, I'm just going to make it due at the end of this week. I'll make it due Friday.
Thank you.
So that if you want to plan to have all class on Thursday, you're not sure if you'll get it done until Friday. We're heading into spring break, so we'll make it due Friday at the end of the day on Friday. Sound fair?
Yes.
So, and I think when you think about what you're turning into Blackboard, remember your when you merge those name tags, you should have a separate merged Word file for every school. Because that's how it worked last time, instead of having them all in the same. You want to copy them onto separate pages or separate colors. We need them on separate files. Makes it easier. And obviously your spreadsheets as well with bedroom numbers. Okay?
Yes.
All right. Say goodbye to Kinsey.
Bye, Kinsey.